Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video games related stuff. I'm Shanae Howard. This here is Tommy Shelby.
Hello.
And Ryan the Rat Robinson.
Hi there, how's it going?
Alright, so it's been a while since we've gotten together. What have you guys been up to?
It's been 1 week since we've gotten together.
Has it? I feel like it's been longer than that, no?
No, according to our
oh,
episodes
right,
and how we
right,
talk
right.
about
Sure,
it,
sure,
it's
sure,
been 1
sure,
week.
sure,
Okay.
sure.
It's 1 week is too
Hear
long.
that crack?
Yeah, hear that clap?
Hear that snap?
Yeah, I hear it.
I've been playing a lot of games. First, let me start off by saying my laptop's dead.
RIP.
Don't get me wrong. I think I can get it fixed. I just have not been able to yet.
Sure.
But as such, I went to next in line my PlayStation 4, and I feel like every time I got my PlayStation 4, I look and I see Odin Sphere and I see Shadow of the Colossus and I see Nier Automata, and that's all I want to fucking play.
Those are called perfect video games.
They're not, but that's all I want to play on there. It really is, and nothing new looks exciting to me except for stuff that I'd rather be playing on my PC.
Yeah.
So turn that off, and I've been playing a fuck ton of Switch games, which a lot of games that are available elsewhere.
Sure. I saw you playing Captain Commando when I arrived.
Yeah. So I've been playing a lot of Baba Is You.
Yeah.
I've been excited to talk about that.
Yeah. Go ahead and get into that because I've been hearing a lot about that game.
Which I'm glad, because I've been excited for this game for a while, and I heard nobody talk about it. Then it comes out, it's selling extremely well.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing more and more people talk about it.
I have no idea what you're talking about,
So Baba Is You is a top-down, old school block pushing puzzle game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the main hook of it is that you can change what the rules are, and the rules are presented in, it's like they're like physically manifested in the world. So it'll say Baba is you, and Baba's like the main little character thing, right?
He's a little sheep boy.
And it'll say flag is win, and rock is push, and lava is defeat, right? So those are the rules, right? If you can get Baba on top of the flag, because flag is win and you are Baba, you will win that level, right? But there's all sorts of weird puzzles in which you are changing the rules. So you might change it to rock is you, and then you are then controlling the rock. Or in later levels, there will be all is you, and you are controlling literally everything at once, simultaneously.
I want to see that.
You might need to change the win condition. So whereas it's typically flag is win, maybe you'll make lava win or rock win or whatever else, things like that. The first lava level you come across, it says like lava is melt. So if you touch the lava, you die, right? But you can change it to say lava is push. So you can just push the lava and then reach the goal. It's extremely good. It's extremely hard, but I love it. So I've been playing a lot of that. I highly suggest it. It's on Switch and Steam, and I think that's it. I've also been playing Night in the Woods, which is a game that everybody seemed to love when it came out, and I never played it until now, and it's very, very good. I don't really know what genre to call it, though. It's like, there's platforming, but that's not the main hook of the game. It's not a platformer. There's music rhythm, but that's just a small little thing you do in the game. It's not a point and click, but like it kind of has an adventure game feel to it. But it's very good. It's very well written. It will make you feel all sorts of things. And I like that it's like broken up into days. So I've been playing one day each day.
And how long is a day?
It varies. It depends on how much you want to do, how many people you want to talk to in town.
So you decide when the day is over?
Yeah, the day is over when you go to bed.
Okay.
So you play as May, and she dropped out of college and she's coming home.
Right.
And like you're reuniting with old friends and family and things of that nature, and it kind of goes from there. But it's so funny, and it like it makes you feel so many things, happy and sad and all that, but it does it so well. It's written so well. And Shanae, you have access to my Switch account. You need to play all of these games that I've been buying on there. They're fantastic.
No, I'm super down for that.
Yeah. And it's like such a chill game. Like that's my bedtime game, like when I'm in bed before I'm about to fall asleep, play through a day of that. It's fantastic.
So from what I understand, like the main character of that game, she's a college student.
Yeah.
Right. And like she just
college dropout.
Yeah, she just dropped out. She went back home and she's kind of hanging out with all her old friends and revisiting her old haunts and isn't like if from what I'm hearing about the game, 'cause I haven't played it, but I hear it's a lot about her interpersonal relationships with like the people that she knows and like how things have changed between them.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like, I guess the best way to describe it is like it's about becoming an adult.
Right. I wish I could. I don't. It's funny because I don't remember that transition at all.
Yeah. But I feel like if you've been in that position, like for me, it was extremely relatable because I was a college dropout,
Right.
Same.
So yeah. And I went away for school and I came back and all that, but it's very, very good.
Cool.
Yeah.
What have you been playing, Ryan?
Okay, so I don't know what spurred this on. Like most people who own a PlayStation, I enjoy getting trophies when they pop up, but I've never really felt myself, aside from the ones that I have earned, I never really felt the compulsion to seek out a platinum trophy. Like I play a game until I'm done with it.
Well, there's been a few times where I've heard you say that you're gonna get this platinum.
Yeah, and then I just fall off of it. Because I'm very much of the mindset of once a game starts to feel like work, I kind of check out of it. And usually that's really what it devolves into most of the time when I pursue a platinum, just because it becomes a grind, right?
Yeah, it just depends on how much you like that grind.
Right. Yeah. And so once I decide that I'm not into it, then I just turn the game off and I've just become okay with not, getting the platinum for that game. But I've said before that my favorite game of last year is Monster Hunter World. And I think it was maybe a couple of weeks ago, a little bit further back than that I decided that I was going to go for the platinum in that game.
Okay.
And I've been making some pretty good progress. Maybe every few days, I'd get another trophy. And a lot of the trophies are do this many things or kill this many monsters, kill this many of this type of monster or whatever, or collect this many materials or whatever, right?
Right.
Three of the trophies involve finding and capturing three specific kinds of. Okay, so let me back up. So in the game, what you can do is, I don't know how familiar you guys are with this game, but you have a wrist-mounted slingshot kind of thing, and one of the things that you can put on it is a net, which you can use to capture what the game calls endemic life. So you can capture bugs or different birds or whatever.
You're like Cyrax.
Yeah, you turn into Cyrax.
Yeah.
And these things that you capture, you can use to decorate your room back at your base, and you can have these little animals on display in your base, and the only person who can see it is you. So I guess it's just for your own benefit. But so three of the trophies are for capturing three specific animals.
Yeah.
But it doesn't tell you what these animals are. The trophy will say, capture a fluffy, snuggly creature, or capture a spiny, bristly creature. You don't know what it's talking about.
Does it give you any more information than that? Is it is there a riddle to it?
No, it doesn't give you any more information than that. So naturally, I went to the internet.
Yeah, obviously.
Because
you don't have time for that.
I'm not gonna suss out what they're talking about. And I think that if I hadn't gone to the internet, I would have never figured it out.
Well, I mean, there's not that many creatures. You could pretty easily kill one of everything.
Well, no, you're not killing them. There's there's
nuts.
You have these monsters.
Right.
You have the monsters that you do kill and fight, but you have other animals within the level.
Right.
You have these little, there are birds or lizards or whatever.
So there's probably even fewer of those then.
There's a lot of them. And the ones that
it's called World.
You do. I mean, it has fewer character models in general than most previous Monster Hunter games.
When we're talking about like the large monsters, then yeah, but like this game has more of like the ambient life than the other games have had.
Sure.
And that's what these trophies are geared toward, is capturing those things. So anyway, the ones that they want you to capture to get these trophies are like, they're very out of the way. And not only that, but in order to get them to show up, they show up under very specific conditions, and after you've done specific things, and then they only and some of them only show up on at specific times of day. So there's a bunch of hoops that you have to go through to get them. So anyway, I captured all of those. Now I'm working on this one where it's you get different what is called crowns for killing or capturing large monsters who are of a specific size. So if you have, let's say I'm going after a Rathalos, which is one of the flying kind of dragon monsters.
Yeah.
So I
killed him in Smash Brothers.
Right. So so you're familiar with him. So
he's no match for Luigi.
Sure. So you have a record largest Rathalos, and then you have your record smallest Rathalos, and you get a crown for each of those. But you only get a crown if it's abnormally large or if it's abnormally small.
Okay.
And that it's all RNG, so you don't really know like when that's going to happen. So you have to do that. You have to get those crowns for most of the monsters, and getting both for just one takes forever. Like it took me all day. I was at it all day for one of them.
Are you using a trophy guide at all?
I had to only for those capturing those three animals that I mentioned, but the other stuff is like it's pretty straightforward because I have to get 2 more trophies related to those crowns. And then I just have another one to do that's just related to, like, it says do 50 arena quests, and I've done 25. So
how close are you to a platinum?
I'm 3 trophies away.
Okay, so it's probably gonna happen.
It's probably gonna happen unless it comes to the pass that I get tired of trying to like get all these crowns that I was talking about.
But you know, like, it's funny that this is the game that you choose to go after, because I feel like Monster Hunter inherently is very grindy.
Yeah.
You know? So like I could see why this game, like why it would be okay for you to do this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of the time the grind is associated with trying to gather materials for a specific piece of equipment. So I usually have a really good barometer for how close I am to that.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of it's rather objective, and it's less random.
Sure.
So it's easier to kind of gauge my progress toward that. But I think that eventually, because I have now invested so much time in doing this that I would be really irritated with myself if I gave up at this point.
Do they add trophies with updates?
No, they don't.
Okay.
So later this year,
September,
they're gonna add the Iceborne expansion.
Yeah.
I imagine that will come with trophies, but I don't think that it's going to. I think those are going to be like separate trophies.
Right. They won't. The updates never affect the platinum.
Yeah.
But they affect your trophy percentage.
Yeah. Well, because some get, like, I remember you were telling me about how Firewatch, like they updated the game,
right,
and then like that affected your trophy percentage,
right. But it didn't affect, like, if you had already 100%ed it, that main chunk of the game would still say 100% when you click into it on the trophy list.
Right.
Much like, I don't know, what's a good example? Like Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got the platinum in Spider-Man, but I'm not at 100% because they've added 3 pieces of DLC afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
I also got Mutant Year Zero.
Oh yeah. XCOM.
Yeah, I got that in actually a monthly humble bundle.
Yeah, I saw that.
I've played maybe about an hour of it so far, but that game is it's neat.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, so like you were saying, like the combat itself is very XCOM. Like,
but you actually traverse
You're right.
Which you don't in most of these games.
Yeah, because with XCOM, like you do the battle, then you go back to base, and then you
do another battle. Yeah,
right. Whereas like the battles happen in real time in the world.
I love that about this.
So like you're walking around and like the characters are like talking to each other.
Yeah,
and it's cool because like they seem like they've been. So I'm at the start of the game, and the two guys that I have are this pig fella with he's a big burly dude with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And then I have this duck guy.
Yes.
And he has a crossbow.
I love the character designs in the game because like I'm super picky about anthropomorphic animals.
Right.
Very picky about them.
Yeah.
Usually hate them.
Know that.
Yeah. I love the Ninja Turtles growing up. I love Bucky O'Hare growing up.
Yeah.
But like Dust and Elysian Tale, I know it's a great game, but I can't look at that thing.
Yeah.
What, like, does it just make you uncomfortable? Or?
It's just weird looking, but like the character models in this are so cool, man. And like the duck, like it reminds me of Deadeye Duck, you know, like I love that stuff.
So here's the thing is, and I agree with Tom on this, is that like when you're talking about anthropomorphic animals, it's all about the proportions.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't remember what game we saw. Like, there was some game on Steam or PSN that we saw. It was like some kind of cat person, but like their proportions were like, it was like human proportions with a cat head, and that's just weird.
Yeah.
But no, the character.
Oh, I love that. Like where it's like a human body and just a cat face.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that is probably the least surprising thing today. But the game, it's the actual combat is really neat. Like they're like once you see, you might see enemies or whatever, and if they haven't noticed you, then you actually have the option to like ambush them. And you get bonuses to whatever damage you do to them as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual combat loop is very close to XCOM.
Yeah,
you're taking cover,
which to me that's a good thing.
Yeah, you're taking cover. You're expending action points for different actions. You can put your guy into Overwatch so that if somebody's running past them, then you can take a shot at them. But the actual loop of it is like really neat, and I'm excited to spend more time with it.
Is there character specific movement limits?
Insofar as I can tell, no. But I mean, again, I might not have just picked up on that just yet. And beyond that, I actually picked up. I reinstalled Warframe.
Oh.
And it's fine.
People really like Warframe. Like as far as a free to play game, they seem to be the company that's doing it right.
Yeah,
it's just not for me.
I think this is probably my third attempt at Warframe.
Yeah.
The first of which was, of course, when the PS4 launched. And at the time I was like, what is this?
And it's a very different game than it was then.
Yeah, it is. And actually, it seems. I'm underserving it when I say that it's fine. It actually, I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing in the game now, and from what I could tell of the systems that it's got going on at this point, it seems like it's a bit more. It seems more transparent than it was before, because a lot of that shit seemed like opaque and like kind of hard to suss out. The story still doesn't make any sense to me, but I
What are you doing there with your microphone today?
I don't know. Just trying to get in like a better position so I'm not like hunched over to like talk into it.
You've never had a problem with being hunched over before.
Yeah, my hunch has been hurting.
Yeah.
It's starting to get more and more pronounced, so I'm trying not to like hunch as much.
All right. Well, if your sound is messed up, it's on you.
Yeah, it's on you.
All right.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, you do what you want.
Yeah, do what you want. You're the host.
You do you.
Yeah.
I'll mute you.
Sure.
I mean,
Shanae, are you playing video games right now?
Yeah, actually, I'm still trying to platinum Kingdom Hearts 3.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't finished that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Corey's been going through those Kingdom Hearts platinums.
Yeah, good on him. I though have been using a bit of a guide, because one of it's like collecting one of every type of material, but I don't have like a list of things that I'm missing, so I don't know what I'm missing. So I've been having to like kind of figure that out on my own, and like so I've been using a guide for that to like, where do I need to go? Because all
the trophy hunters use guides, man. All of them do.
Yeah, just because, like, I mean, other stuff, like, it's, like, I haven't really used much. I'm like, I can read it, like,
I mean, you played the game without a guide,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I did a blind playthrough, and then I'm going back with a guide on some of the stuff on proud mode, just because it's...
Proud.
And then just so I can... Because it's easier to, like...
Real quick, do you understand that reference?
No.
Okay.
I just like saying things funny.
I showed my children Tom Green this week.
Yeah.
They liked it. Slutmobile.
And then, because I've been kind of getting burnt out on like trying to get this platinum,
Yeah.
I've still been playing like some Atomi games on my phone, and then I've also been playing this like Reigns game, but it's like the Game of Thrones version of it. So
Oh, cool.
Reigns is cool.
Yeah, Reigns is cool. I've got 2 of them on Steam.
Yeah, so I've been playing the Game of Thrones one, and it's been like really, really fun. I mean, you know, this like the new season's coming out. I'm pretty excited about it, and this has been like really nice.
Filler season.
The final season.
Filler.
Yeah.
It's all filler because they don't know what's happening in the books.
Well, they know the end. They know the end game, and they know like major plot points of like certain things are going to happen.
Yeah.
They don't know
what if that guy? What if George Railroad Martin changes his mind?
Then he changes his mind.
Yeah. Then that show is just fucked.
Well, I mean, it's its own entity at this point.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't think they're worried about the show being fucked. It's just the last season.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, people are watching it.
Of course they are.
Sure. It's not TV, it's HBO.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
You want to watch Spawn?
You remember Spawn?
You go to HBO.
Yeah. That show had a live action intro by Todd McFarlane every week. And he would talk to you about Spawn.
It's kind of like the old Iron Man cartoon.
I don't think I remember that.
Stan Lee would start off everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really about it.
Reigns is cool.
Is there a win condition for that game? Because I like, or do you just keep going until you lose? Because I don't know that I've never won.
Yeah, I always assumed you just got as far as you could, but I don't know that for a fact.
So with the Game of Thrones one, there is achievements that they want you to hit.
Real quick, should I explain to people what Reigns is if they haven't? So just in case they don't know.
I haven't played any other Reigns games, but like
It's Tinder.
But I recognize that like it's like when I downloaded it, I was like, oh, this has to be a series with other like franchises or like has its own standalone.
Well, there's Reigns and then Her Majesty.
Yeah, that's the second one.
Her Majesty.
Yeah.
So with the Game of Thrones one, you have like achievements that they want you to hit like with each character that you play through, and they want something to happen, and you get like a little star.
Yeah.
And like as you do that, you unlock more and more like characters to play through and different stories.
But how is the game played?
It's Tinder.
It's like Tinder. So it's like you have like they look like cards, and they kind of look like Roblox-esque like art. They're
Don't compare them to that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying like it's whatever the character models, kind of like flattened pop figurines. Then I guess.
Go back to Roblox.
Yeah. Seriously.
So yeah, it's just like a card and it has like what's going on it, and like it's like Tinder. You swipe left or swipe right. Each one has its own decision, and then you have like stats that you have to keep up with, and some of them you can like max out, but and like it'll like kind of refill, and some of them like if you have too much of one thing or too little of it, then your character will die. Like
yeah, it's just decision making.
Yeah. So there is like a little leaderboard where like how many like different little questions you go through. And then there is like achievements, but it's not like I guess like you kind of just go until you die. Still.
Yeah, I thought so. It's like The Sims, right? Like The Sims has milestones that you want to accomplish.
Sure.
But eventually it's just going to be over.
Yeah, well, the milestone in Sims is like leveling up. This is just like.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying as far as an end game and accomplishments in the game.
Fine, yes, you're right. Yeah. Jesus.
Okay. I feel like that deserves a mute.
I mean, he's not wrong, Shanae. You're being very unprofessional.
Yeah.
All right. I'm fine with that.
Sure.
Okay.
So this week we are going to talk about, I guess like Ryan's going to lead this conversation.
I mean, I don't have to.
Well, I don't know anything about it, so it's not going to be me.
Okay.
Stadia?
Yeah. Google Stadia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Google Stadia is Google's game streaming initiative, where the sales pitch is basically that no matter what platform you're on, you're going to be able to play any game offered by their service, regardless of if you're on a phone, on a Chromebook, or basically anything that is capable of using Google Chrome. You'll be able to play video games through it.
Stream video games through it.
You're able to stream video games through it from their data center. So they'll handle all the computational shit. You just play the game. So they actually had a presentation at this most recent GDC. Phil Harrison was the one presenting. You may remember him most recently and notably from being the one who also was doing the presenting at the prior to the Xbox One launch for Microsoft, and hopefully the Stadia launch goes better than that one. But basically, he spent a lot of time trying to sell us on the kind of the things that I went over, which is basically, no matter where you are, like you start the game on your Chromebook and you pick up where you left off from your phone. And he made a really big point to reiterate that.
Like how many times did he reiterate it?
I mean, I wasn't counting, but
this was a ridiculous presentation today.
Yeah.
Should I watch it for like entertainment value or no?
Well, I
mean, I'd watch it for laughs.
Yeah, I mean, well, because see, here's the thing: is that I don't know that anything that Phil Harrison said about this service affected my opinion of it one way or the other. I feel like I kind of had my feelings about it already, and
because it's been rumored for quite a while now. We know they tested Assassin's Creed last year, so we knew this was coming.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is like he didn't he talked at length about it. He had some other people on stage talking about it, and I mean, really, the only thing that's left to be seen is how it will actually work in the marketplace. I don't know. I think there are a lot of. Oh, Tom, you might need to plug in the computer there.
All right, hold on.
Since you're getting up, will you also get that brown notebook?
No.
It's on the bed.
Sinead, why didn't you
There's no bed in the studio.
Yeah, we're in the studio. What are you talking about? Also, why didn't you just bring the notebook with you?
I forgot it, and I realized it as soon as I sat down and looked in front of me.
But okay.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'll learn from it.
I hope so.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
But I think this is kind of indicative of like everybody's trying to get some kind of streaming service out right now, right?
Yep.
And like we have Google with Stadia, then Microsoft has their thing, and then PlayStation has been trying it.
I mean, this has been going on since the 90s.
Yeah, like ever since
streaming games over the internet has been going on since the 90s.
Sega Channel.
Sure. Yeah. Satellaview.
Yeah. And I think that, this, like, I have a lot of questions that I don't feel like were answered by anything that was presented at GDC.
And what were your questions?
Well, and I think these are questions that, like, most people have, which is, like, how are they going to monetize this?
That's not a question. We know the answer to that.
How are they going, like, and
what's the answer to that question?
At GDC, they showed developers how they could bake ads into their games.
Right, but like that's obviously going to be something that like everybody hates ads, right? So that's not going to be the end all, right?
Yeah, but I mean that's how Google makes most of their money. Is
Sure,
ads.
that's how Google makes most of their money, but at the same time, especially when it comes like the other platform that they own, YouTube, they offer a subscription plan to eliminate ads. So is there a possibility that there's going to be a Stadia subscription?
It's possible. They've shown no signs. They've given us reason to believe that this is not a subscription thing.
Yeah.
If you watch the presentation and they're showing the whole YouTube integration,
Mm-hmm.
they say you're watching your favorite YouTuber play a game, and you can click this button to buy this game.
And that's another thing. That's another thing too. One of the things I had I don't know a lot about computing or computers or any of that shit, right?
Computation.
I don't know anything about computations.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I had a really hard time wrapping my mind around is the idea of watching someone play a video game on YouTube,
Yeah.
and then being able to go to that point in the game and start playing it. Like I'm sure that there are people smarter than me who know more about this shit than I do, who can easily explain how that works.
Mm-hmm.
But I just I saw it and I watched it. I watched it and I watched it and I watched it and I don't get it.
It's literally just creating a save state right there, and then you pick up from that point.
Yeah, I don't know. But
okay.
And also, what does this mean for because I feel like this is because we have other storefronts, like we already have the Epic going up against a Valve with their storefront, and then we have and I'm wondering, is there any point at which the games that are released on Stadia, because I imagine Google is going to try to get some exclusive releases on this thing.
I mean, yeah, they've got first-party developers now.
Right.
Jade Raymond.
Right. So, at any point, can I own my game?
I think that really depends on
how I define ownership.
Yeah, because a lot of people like to say, Inside Gaming did an interesting episode this week about ownership of digital goods, right? And whether there's a difference between the term own and license,
right?
It just depends on how you look at that. And terms of service, whether you're getting something on Steam or the Epic Store or whatever that might be, PSN, right?
Right.
There are terms of services that are defined by the platform holder,
mm-hmm.
but there are also terms of service that are defined by the publisher.
Right.
So like EA games, right? Every digital license for any EA game is just that, a license. And if you read the terms of service, it says that you do not own that game.
Right. They said something like they could change or discontinue this access to the game at any point.
Right. So it really depends on how you look at it. And if this does turn out to be a streaming thing versus a digital purchase thing, right? The only language that they've used implies purchasing.
Right.
But I don't know. I've got a lot of opinions on this, and they are mostly negative.
Yeah.
I think that the whole save state thing is probably the coolest thing about it.
Sure.
It's not something I'd ever want to use, but I could see it being very useful for speedrunners,
right?
And just people who want to fuck around with things. It's similar to the Nintendo, the NES library on Switch with the fucking Zelda special and stuff like that.
Right.
That's all that is picking up from a certain save point.
I don't know. I don't know. It seems like something that could also be useful to I don't know, you want to feel like you're playing a game with your favorite streamer.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've also got the whole thing where Shanae's streaming a game and I'm watching Shanae and I'm her #1 super fan. She's like, okay, guys, we're going to lobby up, right? And if I am on Stadia, it's super easy for me to connect with Shanae. That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's where the positives really end for me.
Sure.
And I know a lot of people are really excited for this, but
yeah.
I just think that there's no reason to be. And you know me, over the past couple of years, I went from owning hundreds of physical games to owning almost none. I'm almost completely digital now.
Right.
that doesn't bother me outside the obvious thing of like licenses being lost, right?
Sure.
Games being delisted, like that bothers me. But if it's not a subscription service and you are actually buying the license, then technically you should still have the ability to play those games.
Right. For as long as those data centers hold up.
Right. I think the presentation was bad, and a lot of people that I've talked to about are like, well, it's GDC, it's not E3. And I understand that, but if I was a developer, I'd still think this was bad.
Yeah, well, like at GDC, you're presenting to other developers.
You're presenting to developers and investors.
Yeah.
And if I was either, I would not be happy with this.
Sure.
The guy, the Google CEO, comes out first. He was the first person on stage.
Right.
And the first thing he says is, I don't really play video games.
Sure.
That's a good thing to start with.
Yeah.
I
You're
thought
about to
that
talk
was
about your video game platform.
like, even if you don't, that's a foolish thing to say.
Yeah. And I don't
So foolish.
I don't think that I don't think it was a useful piece of information to disclose. And I think and I think that if anything, it hurts confidence in the quality of this product.
Another thing that really got to me is they kept putting forth like theoretical things, right? Like more than once they said, imagine, because, you know, you're not confined to one piece of hardware, right?
Right.
So you could scale to whatever a developer wants to make. Well, a developer wants to make what there is the most of, right? If more people own a Switch, they're going to make a Switch game or something that can run on Switch, right? So Google's dream of this, what they said, imagine a 1,000-player battle royale game. Why, as a developer, would I ever make that if I cannot sell that on an Xbox or a PlayStation or whatever else, right? Because they can't run it.
Right.
Why would I do that? And like they continued with that sort of language. Imagine this, right? In the future, we will be 8K. When they say this, the word future is on the screen behind the guy. You know, like, yeah, in the future we'll be 8K. Sure, in the future, I imagine all platforms will be 8K.
Sure. And also, it's weird language to use when your platform.
I don't even have 4K.
It's weird language to use when your platform is launching this year.
It's weird language to use when at GDC, people who had hands-on with Stadia, what they were saying was running 1080p 60, saw significant frame rates and significant drops in resolution.
Right.
You know, that's the product in a controlled environment. They were having problems with it.
Yeah.
Right. That's already been reported. So that's the thing. My other thing is like, there's been plenty of companies that have tried it, right? Satellaview failed. OnLive failed. Like the list goes on and on. Gaikai failed. I mean, not failed. It's still there, but like, how much money is it actually making? How many people actually use that service?
Right.
You know, I was an OnLive ambassador when that first launched, and like, it was ridiculous, you know? Now, granted, network speeds have come a long way since then. Sorry.
But we're still not there.
But I think we could be there. I think the United States is still not there.
Right.
Because we've seen this work. We've seen it work well. And even in the States, we've seen it work well. But not on a large scale. They had weird language about PlayStation 4 is this many teraflops, Xbox One is that many teraflops, and Stadia is going to be more than both of them combined. Well, that's great, but it should be more than both of them combined because those are two consoles that are about to end.
Right.
Those aren't the new consoles, you know?
Right, and also it's a foregone conclusion because neither of those boxes is harnessing the computing powder, the computing power that Google has access to.
And well, that's the other thing. Google very much likes to toot their own horn, talking about this is possible with Google because they have the largest network.
Right.
Google actually has the third largest network. Amazon is first. Microsoft is second. Google is behind both of those, and Microsoft is planning to do the same thing. There's so many things about it that are just like, I have no reason to be excited for this.
You know, and they didn't. There are so many, like, one, there are so many red flags about this, and two, there's just like, especially with the way that they talk about it, like all of it is just so nebulous, and an app, and they speak of it in abstract so often that it's just like and again, I understand that this was a GDC presentation, and I'm not a developer, I'm not an investor, but if I were an investor, you're telling me to invest in something that, like, I have no idea when I will receive returns on this.
Well, and Google consistently does this, right? If I was an investor, I would not invest in anything Google related.
Right.
Think about Google Plus, and Google Hangouts is about to die.
Sure.
YouTube Red gone.
Right.
Have you guys ever heard of the site Killed by Google?
No.
Killed by Google is a website that literally all it is one page and a list of products like this that Google has started and then stopped. And there are well over 100 products on that list. I have no reason to believe that they're gonna try to support this.
So
other than Gmail and Google as a search engine,
sure,
and Chrome and YouTube, like that's it.
Yeah. So what we were told is that it's launching at the end of the year, and then they'll have more for us this summer, more information for us this summer. I sat there and I sat there listening to that. I'm like what more do I need to know about this thing?
Well, I think the other big worry is that they're doing this at GDC, and the reason they're doing this at GDC is to get people to develop for it, right?
Right.
That's the whole point. For something that's coming out this year, you probably should have had SDKs in developers' hands 2 years ago.
Right.
Which we know they have for like some people. Like Ubisoft obviously has it. Bethesda obviously has it. But that's the other thing, right? The guy's like, he's like, how do you kick off blah, 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 blah? You do it with Doom Eternal. And they show Doom Eternal, right? But it's an environment screen with 0 character models on it.
Right.
No gameplay.
Right.
Like that looks great. That's how you kick off 4K streaming. Like I don't know.
That does not inspire confidence, especially when we're talking about a game because I think that a lot of the problems, so the game that they used to test this thing out was Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Right.
And I feel like you can hide a lot of the problems that this platform has in a game like Assassin's Creed.
You can hide latency in it for sure.
Yeah.
But you know what? They couldn't hide it well enough at GDC.
Now, imagine trying to hide those same problems in a game that is as fast-paced as Doom.
Yeah.
It just
or a fighting game or
right.
a puzzle game or whatever else
right.
it might be, right?
And that's another thing too, is I think that if this does if this thing does, establish itself, then it's going to establish itself for a specific subset of video game players, right? Because there's specific subsets of video game players who do not play video games on PlayStation Now because there are technological limitations that prevent them from playing the kind of video games that they want to play.
Well, and it's a good point, Ryan. Like when I first saw this presentation, immediately I was hard out, right? And as the week went on, I tried to think about it more and more. It kind of reminds me of Labo in a way, right? Like Labo was announced and a bunch of people shat all over it. And my argument was well, it's not for you,
right?
And well, maybe Stadia is just not for me, right? But
who is it for then?
It's for the person who has a TV that happens to have Chromecast on it, and they don't want to buy a console, but hey, there's something there that they can play, and I get that, but their previous behavior shows that they won't support this, and it shows that audience is not big enough, right? Because I think Google Hangouts probably has a bigger audience than Stadia could ever have. Yeah. And they're ending that this year,
right.
Yeah, I've used Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Google Hangouts also has room for more applications than a dedicated platform like Stadia would have.
Right.
Yeah. I'm as somebody who didn't watch it and I'm only getting the information y'all are saying.
Yeah.
I deal with issues regarding streaming quite often with my job, and just knowing the difficulties that people have on their laptops and computers with something that isn't like this.
Yeah.
That like I mean, as far as like the requirements for what like I deal with and what like I help people out with is going to be much lower than this.
Well, yeah, because a video file that you stream doesn't have to worry about input.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I'm just like thinking about all
And
the
even with video files, right? Like watching a movie in 4K on Netflix is not the same as watching a 4K Blu-ray. The 4K Blu-ray is better quality because it doesn't have to be streamed.
Right.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I mean, even there's limitations.
Yeah.
Yeah, like join your favorite streamer and play like the same game. That seems like something that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. But like Twitch already offers like similar things to that.
Really?
You know, it's not the same as like I can just jump in with you. But I mean, I
Okay.
could if you set up a private lobby. Like Melch has done that shit. But like
Okay.
it's
Like they did this thing where like they showed this thing where they showed a couple of things that I think people could get some use out of. Like one of them is like, I'm stuck at this part in the video game, and then you just ask Google, how do I get past this thing? And then it'll bring up the most relevant results to where you are in that game, and you can use one of those things, right? That's kind of cool. But like, but then again, I could just never mind.
but it's also like it's only a matter of time before it brings up, because what it's doing is bringing up a video
right,
of where it thinks you are in the game.
right,
It's gonna bring up shit that you're not wanting to see.
right.
You know.
Because like the what they used for that example was Tomb Raider, right? And
Yeah.
so like,
And for some reason, the old Tomb Raider, not the new one.
you know the reason, but but like this says, how do I get past this tomb? And what I remember of that Tomb Raider is a lot of those tombs look very similar on the inside,
Right.
and I can imagine I'm going to get some answers about a tomb that I'm not in.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll see how that works. But then what I did think was cool was that like you could like let's say there's like a section of a video game, right?
Yeah.
And you want to be like, hey, I bet you guys can't beat my time for this section. Here's a link to this part of the game, and people can just click that link and they can go to that section of the game and they can try to beat your time or whatever it is they want to do. So I thought that was neat, right? And here's the thing: is that I don't ever want any like new technology or new product to fail. Like I would love to be excited about it because I like the idea of new things, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, it's just like I'm having a hard time like feeling any modicum of excitement.
And so are developers, and they need the
this.
developers, you know? Like, I don't know if you've seen, like, the GDC stuff after that conference, right? But, like, at their booth, they had, like, the guy in the Pac-Man suit. Like, do you remember this when they did, like, the whole texture mapping thing?
Yeah.
They're like, here's the Pac-Man texture. Ooh, it looks so cool.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a guy in a fucking Pac-Man's, like, textured suit. So fucking dumb. And developers, by the way, are already coming out and saying, I would never put that in my game.
Yeah.
You know, not just the Pac-Man thing, but like any random overlay that Google's making. Fuck that. Like, you don't make games that way. You make games by having original art.
Yeah. They were,
You know?
it was basically like, here's the overlay and just like apply it to your whole game and just go, which is like,
Your whole game can be hideous.
Yeah.
Like, great.
yeah, I'll just like, and even still, right? It just seems like, as somebody who's not a developer, I would say that based on what I know about developers, creative control is a really huge deal. And I think that the idea of handing that over to the platform holder seems like it would not be appealing.
Well, and it could be for smaller developers, right? Like, think about the people that are making games for like phones,
Sure.
right? Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them, right, are not using original assets.
Right.
Anybody that puts out an MV game is typically not using original assets. Some of them are, most of them are not.
Right.
And you find those games on PlayStation or on Steam or whatever, right?
Right.
But, like, is that the standard that you want for your new product?
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I still can't like.
You want that in 8K? Like, that's what you want?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like this. I feel like it's not gonna be good for a lot of Apple users, like because with a lot of Apple devices, if your software is like even a little bit behind,
Yeah.
you can't update Chrome to like the latest updates.
Yeah, sure.
And like, I don't know. I just like, I'm still stuck on like, who exactly is this for?
It's for people who don't have access to high-end hardware and want to play video games.
But even then, like, you would need like at least decent hardware.
No,
or
you
like
wouldn't.
Not with this.
No, because you're not using your hardware.
The biggest piece of hardware that you need with this is a good wireless card, assuming you're going wireless.
Yeah.
That's what
You know.
that's what I'm saying. Like most people that like that I think would buy this would be wireless, and like their Wi-Fi may not be like if they don't have the best like great equipment.
Yeah,
like,
so they put up like what speeds they recommend and what speeds are capable of running this, right? And I don't remember what they are exactly, but I know mine like blew it out of the water,
Sure.
right?
Like,
but
I
in
don't
a
know
controlled
what it is.
environment, they were having issues with it.
I mean,
So-
the speed requirements aren't insane, right? But like at the same time, you know, the speed requirements on PlayStation Now aren't insane
Yeah,
either.
it works.
Like
That's
like
not
you
what
could-
you want, but
yeah,
it works.
Like you can play the game,
Yeah.
you know, but like it's not ideal. And this isn't going to be. This isn't. And like the biggest thing is that they position this as a means of replacing consoles and the need for high-end PCs to play your video games.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's not going to happen.
yeah, at least not anytime this decade.
And a lot of people don't seem to understand because Xbox isn't as big as Google. Microsoft is pretty big and their network is technically better.
Yeah,
They have a better chance of making this work. At least right now they do,
right.
you know?
yeah, I'm seeing like 20 to 30 megabits per second.
Right. Which is not a lot.
Yeah,
It's not a lot.
That's
And technically at GDC, it was running, right?
Sure.
During their presentation, it looked great. When they showed Assassin's Creed and he switched from the TV to the tablet to all that shit, looked fine,
yeah.
right? But like at actual GDC at their booth, Easy Allies reported having frame rate issues and resolution issues. Fucking Eurogamer reported the same thing. Like, you know.
Yeah. So the most, as I would say that as a consumer, the most attractive prospect of this is the ability or having the option of offloading all of that, all the computation to someone else, so that you can play the video game and not have to worry about having like good hardware at all.
Yeah.
But that being said,
I mean, I do think like this is where gaming is going to end up.
I mean,
I do think
eventually
this is what's going to happen.
it is going to happen.
It's not yet.
It's just not going to happen right now.
Yeah.
And then I think that, when we arrive at that future, there will be people with more attractive options than what Google is offering.
Yeah, and to your point, like this is something I want to work.
Yeah.
I don't like everything about it, but like my computer is dead right now.
Yeah.
I would love if I could just stream those games, and actually have it be as good.
The idea, I like the idea, right? I like the idea of like back when OnLive was first, like back when I first heard about OnLive, I was like, dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, me too. I was psyched.
Yeah, but
And they're gonna let me be an ambassador. By the way, they would have let anybody be an ambassador. You
didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
But the idea is cool. The idea of being able to stream video games to any piece of hardware that you own, no matter where you are, that's a really cool idea. This was a bad attempt at a proof of concept.
Yeah.
I think that in the next few years we'll see these things progress. But I don't imagine. I imagine that. Well, I'll just say this. When I saw Phil Harrison on the stage, I was like, uh-oh.
Well, it's funny. It's like people point to things like Satellaview and say, well, that worked fine, right? And that was decades ago. But like, you're talking about streaming BS Zelda versus, Doom
Right.
Eternal. Like that's a big difference.
Yeah.
So, any like closing thoughts on it?
I just like a lot of people that I've talked to are like, why are you so negative on this? And I just convince me otherwise. Put in the comments what is good about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same for you, Ryan?
Basically, yeah.
Y'all maybe actually want to watch the conference on it. So
You can find like a bunch of like what's the word? Condensed versions of the presentation. Like you can find like Stadia presentation in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a shit show. Like it's not as bad as like Konami's conference, but it's a shit show.
Yeah.
All right. So for our game this week, It's gonna be all about voice actors.
Uh-oh.
I don't know any of those.
I know some.
I
We need
tried-
Sandy. Sandy knows a lot of them.
I
Yeah.
tried to pick famous ones.
Call Sandy on that thing.
So, because I didn't know like how knowledgeable y'all were, I
Okay.
have where I can just say the games that they're in, and you can guess what like all these games have in common.
Okay.
Or I can also say the character they voice act in the game as well.
I don't quite understand, but okay.
So how do I just start with the games themselves? And if y'all have no clue, then I'll start saying who they are in each game.
Okay.
So, Batman, the Telltale Games,
Troy Baker.
Last of Us.
Troy Baker.
Yeah.
Why did you say the second one?
Just to see if he would change his answer, but he obviously didn't. So 1 point to Tom. So Halo 2, Saints Row 2, and Saints Row 4,
Oh, God. I have no idea.
Mass Effect
Jen Taylor.
3 and 2.
Am I right or wrong?
Wrong.
Oh, Keith David.
There you go.
Okay. All right. He's more of an actor than a voice actor, but sure.
Sure. You ever see Tales from the Hood too?
I did. Oh, no. Not the second one. I didn't know that existed.
Pretty good.
I saw the first one like not
Yeah.
that long ago.
Yeah, you should watch that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
This is voice actress.
They still prefer to be called actors.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was trying to give you a hint. My apologies.
Okay.
It's flight attendant, not stewardess.
Yeah.
So
Metal Gear Solid series.
David Hayter.
Mass Effect 1 through 3, Halo 4, and then Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
Hold on. What's that lady's name? Fuck.
Dom DeLuise.
No.
Oh, you're gonna say it and I'm gonna know it.
So in Metal Gear Solid series, she plays Emma Emmerich and Naomi Hunter.
Blonde lady, right? The
Yeah.
fuck is her name?
No, she's not. I mean, she may have been blonde at one point.
Okay, well then no, it's not her.
So in Halo 4, she played Sarah Palmer.
I don't know who that is. I don't play Halo.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fucking dork.
In Mass Effect 1 through 3, she did the voice acting for female Commander Shepard.
I don't play Mass Effect.
Same answer.
Yeah.
Because he's not a fucking dork.
Jennifer Hale.
I don't know who that is.
She's a voice actor.
Well, we inferred that by the context of this game.
All right. So the original God of War series, Saints Row 1.
T.C. Carson.
Yep.
So, is Living Single on that list? Because he's on that show.
Is he really?
Yeah, he plays Kyle.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I
follow him on Instagram.
I also had Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Clone
Okay,
Wars.
but did we just like even out or did Ryan win?
Ryan has 2. You have 1 from that.
Okay.
So,
Falling behind here, guys.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
we're
we still don't even know what we're playing toward, Tom. Like, she hasn't
a bottle
told.
of whiskey. So
Well, that's the surprise for both of us because we're going to share it anyway.
That is true.
So,
We share our whiskey.
yeah.
yeah. I
Not
mean,
with you.
Yeah. You've proven that you can't handle it. So,
I'm not the one who smashed my finger in a door and then lost my fingernail.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
We roll back the tapes. We have finger watch.
Fingergate.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Tommy said, if you are excited about Stadia, or if you're not, let us know in our comments or reach out to us.
It sounds like an artificial sweetener.
Yeah, it does.
I always think Pokemon Stadia
Yeah.
because I had a trouble remembering the name for like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bad name.
Yeah.
Bad logo.
Yeah.
But this has been the Save It Continue podcast. That's Tommy Shelby,
Goodbye.
Ryan Robinson,
Bye.
and I'm Shanae Howard. Bye, guys.